Jax Marlowe had made many mistakes in his life. Stealing fruit as a child. Trusting cheap space transport. Trying alien street food labeled mild. But kneeling in the throne room of the Celestial Dominion while accused of trespassing royal territory, that was easily his worst. The floor beneath him shimmered like frozen starlight. Every tiny movement echoed through the chamber. The alien nobles surrounding him stood tall and silent, their long ears angled forward, studying him as if he were a strange animal that had wandered into a sacred temple. Above them all, Queen Solara sat on her radiant throne. She looked carved from moonlight and authority. Silver hair fell over armor that hummed softly with controlled energy. Her expression was calm. Too calm. "Human Jax Marlowe," she said, her voice smooth and cold. "You entered restricted royal gardens. You interfered with protected flora. You disrupted a private ceremony." Jax swallowed. "I tripped," he said honestly. "There was a slope. And a glowing plant. And then everything sort of happened." A guard shifted. Even with a helmet covering his face, Jax somehow felt judged. "Punishment is the logical result," Queen Solara continued. Jax braced himself. Prison. Forced labor. Alien etiquette classes. But before the Queen could continue, "No." The single word echoed clearly. Princess Nia stepped forward from beside the throne. Golden hair. White luminous skin. Long elegant ears. She moved like light across water. "I will not allow punishment," she said. The court exploded in whispers. Queen Solara's gaze sharpened. "You would defy me." Nia did not look away. "I love him." Silence crashed into the room. A noble fainted dramatically. Jax's brain stopped working. Love. He hadn't even processed the fact that she had been secretly visiting the garden to meet him during his accidental trespassing. Now she had just declared interstellar rebellion. Queen Solara stood. "If you bind your fate to this human," she said slowly, "you will both leave this court. 1 year. Frontier Diplomatic Station Ardent 7. Prove that your bond strengthens the Dominion." Removed. That word felt heavy. But Nia stepped beside Jax and took his hand. "We accept." And just like that, the human who had tripped into a garden was exiled with a princess. The reactor core pulsed violently. If it failed, Ardent 7 would become space debris. Jax and Nia ran through corridors filled with smoke and sparks. Panels rejected Nia's access codes. Jax hit one in frustration. It opened. They stared at each other. "Did you just fix advanced alien tech by hitting it?" Nia asked. "I think it respects confidence." Inside the reactor chamber, energy spiraled out of control. Sabotage code locked the final override. Helion encryption. Designed to fail. Nia worked fast, fingers flying across holographic controls. Jax followed instructions he barely understood. Coolant redirection. Magnetic stabilization. Manual overrides. The system fought them. Alarm screamed. Heat surged. Jax felt fear crawl into his chest. He was not trained for this. He was not born royal. He was just human. But he stepped closer to Nia. "Tell me what to do." She looked at him, steady and trusting. "Place your hand here." Their palms pressed together on the console. Royal Dominion authority. Human biometric unpredictability. 2 species. 1 command. The system resisted. Then yielded. The reactor stabilized. Silence filled the chamber. They had stopped the sabotage. Together. Ardent 7 did not welcome visitors warmly. The docking door tried to close on Jax twice. A maintenance drone bumped into him and beeped like it was insulted. The station looked like 3 civilizations had built it, argued, and then left halfway through repairs. "It has character," Nia said gently. "It has structural issues," Jax replied. Their quarters were small but functional. The lights flickered only twice. A cabinet hit Jax in the head. A healing patch played cheerful music while sealing the bruise. Life on the frontier began. They handled small disputes. Trade agreements. Cultural misunderstandings. Jax learned alien gestures. Nia learned human sarcasm. They worked well together. But peace on the frontier never lasts. One morning, alarm screamed. An unannounced ship had docked. The Helion Accord. Political rivals. Experts in smiling while planning disaster. Envoy Ceres entered with 2 massive synthetic guards. "We request a symbolic exchange," she said smoothly. "Princess Nia will join us as liaison." Jax didn't think. "Over my not-dead body." The room froze. Ceres tilted her head. "And who are you?" Nia stepped in front of him. "He stands with me." Negotiations lasted hours. Too smooth. Too calm. And that was when Jax noticed something wrong. The synthetic guards were scanning station systems. Not observing. Mapping. When the Helion delegation retired to guest quarters, a cleaning drone approached Jax and projected stolen footage. Sabotage. Tiny system adjustments. Reactor manipulation. Power rerouting. "They're not negotiating," Jax whispered. "They're destabilizing," Nia finished. And then the alarms turned red. Later, under the starlit sky of the Dominion capital, Jax looked up at towers glowing like constellations. "I almost got arrested for gardening," he said softly. Nia laughed. "You stepped into history instead." He thought about everything. The trial. The exile. The sabotage. The reactor. The fear. Humans were not the strongest species. Not the most advanced. Not the most graceful. But they were stubborn. They stayed when others calculated retreat. They loved without permission. They adapted when systems broke. And sometimes, they hit the panel until it worked. Queen Solara watched them from a balcony. For the first time, she allowed herself a small smile. The Dominion had not lost a princess. It had gained an ally. And perhaps something more powerful than tradition. Hope. Nia leaned into Jax's shoulder. "Ready for the next mission?" she asked. He smiled. "As long as no doors attack me." Her laughter rose into the night. And somewhere across the stars, word began to spread. A human had stood before a galactic throne. He had not bowed in fear. He had not claimed power. He had simply chosen love. And that choice changed everything. The message arrived at 3:17 station time. Not through official channels. Not through diplomatic networks. It came as a pulse. A silent ripple through Ardent 7's outer sensors. Jax was awake because the station AI had decided that minor gravitational instability was a valid reason to play alarm music. He sat up in bed. "Please define minor," he muttered. "Minor means the station is not yet torn apart," the AI replied cheerfully. Comforting. Across the room, Nia was already standing at the viewport. The stars outside looked wrong. They were bending. Not naturally. Not like warp travel. Something heavy was moving through space. Slow. Massive. Watching. "Jax," Nia said quietly. "We are not alone." The sensor grid flickered. Then died. Not destroyed. Silenced. Ardent 7 had just become invisible. Or trapped. Jax felt a cold weight settle in his chest. "Tell me that's a friendly diplomatic misunderstanding." Nia did not answer. Because both of them knew. This was something else. Within the hour, Dominion High Command transmitted emergency classification. Unknown vessel. Non-Helion. Non-Dominion. No transponder. No language signal. It simply existed. Hovering beyond visual range. Queen Solara appeared as a hologram in the command chamber. "This entity has appeared near 3 outer colonies before," she said calmly. "Each colony went silent within 12 hours. Jax swallowed. Silent like, quiet. "Yes." No explosion. No debris. No distress call. Just absence. Nia stepped forward. "Have they communicated at all?" Solara's expression darkened slightly. They transmitted one phrase. The Queen activated the audio file. A deep layered voice filled the chamber. "Surrender your adaptive species." The room felt colder. Jax blinked. "Adaptive species." Solara's eyes shifted to him. "Humanity," Silence followed. The unknown entity was not interested in territory, not resources, not power. It wanted humans. Jax let out a slow breath. Well, that feels personal. Emergency Council formed immediately. Dominion fleets were too far. Hellion forces were refusing to engage. The unknown vessel remained motionless. Waiting. Nia paced the command room. They are studying us, she said. Measuring response patterns. Jax leaned over the holographic star map. Okay. Think simple. Why humans? Solara answered through the hologram. Your species adapts rapidly. You reverse engineer foreign systems. You survive environments meant to kill you. Jax frowned. That's just called being stubborn. Yes, Solara said evenly. That is precisely the problem. The unknown species did not want Dominion power. They wanted the variable. Humans broke prediction models. They disrupted probability calculations. They evolved too quickly. And something out there feared that. Nia looked at Jax. They want to control humanity before humanity grows stronger. He scratched his head. That's actually flattering. No one laughed. 6 hours later, the unknown vessel acted. Gravity shifted. Not violently. Precisely. Ardent 7's engines shut down. Weapons systems locked. Communications blocked. The station wasn't attacked. It was disabled. Surgically. A beam of light formed in space ahead of them. Not energy. Not plasma. A doorway. Something stepped through. Tall. Silver-black armor that flowed like liquid metal. No visible face. Just a smooth reflective surface. It did not speak aloud. The voice entered their minds directly. Present the human. Jax blinked. Well, that's rude. Nia stepped in front of him immediately. You will not take him. The entity tilted its head. Resistance confirms value. Dominion security attempted to fire. Weapons dissolved mid-air. Not blocked. Disassembled. Atom by atom. The entity raised one hand. And Jax felt gravity increase around him. His knees buckled. Not pain. Pressure. Like being pinned by the universe itself. Nia grabbed him. Stop, she demanded. The entity's voice echoed again. Human adaptive core detected. Extraction required. Extraction. Like he was a resource. A tool. Something to collect. Jack struggled to breathe. And then something strange happened. The pressure changed. Not because of the entity. Because of him. Jax's mind raced. Fear. Anger. Refusal. And something deeper. Choice. Humans did not accept inevitability easily. They argued with storms. They survived impossible odds out of pure stubbornness. Jax focused. Not on fighting. Not on resisting. On thinking. You want adaptability, he forced out. The pressure paused slightly. Correct. You want to understand it. Silence. The entity processed. Nia looked at him with wide eyes. He continued, voice shaking but steady. You can't extract adaptability. The gravity weakened by 1 degree. It isn't in our blood. Another degree. It isn't in our DNA alone. The entity stood still. Jax locked his eyes on its smooth surface. It's in choice. Silence spread across the chamber. You want to study humanity, he said. Then watch this. He stood up. Even as gravity tried to push him down. Not because he was stronger. But because he refused to stay down. Nia stepped beside him. Without hesitation. The Dominion guards reformed behind them. Solara's hologram flickered stronger. The entire station stood. Together. Not ordered. Not commanded. Chosen. Jax spread his arms slightly. This is adaptability, he said. We stand together when we are afraid. The entity did not move. Its voice returned. But this time, slower. Collective defiance, unpredicted. Jax smiled weakly. Yeah. We do that. The entity withdrew slightly. Not defeated. Evaluating. We will return, it said. The gravity normalized instantly. The doorway in space closed. And the unknown vessel vanished. Not warped. Not jumped. Vanished. Ardent 7 systems restored slowly. Everyone in the command chamber remained frozen. Solara's hologram reappeared clearly. You risked everything, she said to Jax. He shrugged. They were going to take me anyway. Nia turned toward him. You could have surrendered. He looked at her. And leave you to negotiate alone. That seems dangerous. She laughed softly through tears she hadn't realized were forming. Solara studied them both. They have never retreated before. Jax tilted his head. So, that was a win. It was uncertainty, Solara replied. And uncertainty is new to them. Humans had introduced doubt into a species that believed itself absolute. And doubt spreads. Days passed. The unknown vessel did not return. But Dominion scientists analyzed the encounter. One fact became clear. The entity had scanned Jax. And something inside him had disrupted their field. Not technology. Not power. Pattern instability. Human neurological unpredictability had interfered with their gravitational control. Not because humans were advanced. Because humans were inconsistent. Creative under pressure. Emotionally driven. Illogical at critical moments. Unpredictable. The unknown species operated on perfect calculation. Humans broke math. And that frightened them. Queen Solara summoned them again. This time not for judgment. For strategy. The entity fears what it cannot model, she said. So we become unmodelable, Jax replied. Nia's eyes lit with understanding. Instead of fortifying defenses traditionally, the Dominion would integrate human advisory units across frontier stations. Not as soldiers. As variables. Training programs began immediately. Humans and Dominion officers working side by side. Improvisation drills. Unpredictable scenario simulations. Emotional response modeling. The Dominion was evolving. Not into humans. But alongside them. And for the first time, Solara looked at Jax not as a risk. But as an advantage. You have shifted galactic strategy, she told him privately. Jax blinked. I mostly talked loudly and refused to fall down. Yes, she said calmly. Exactly. Late that night, Jax and Nia stood in the hydroponic ring. Silver petal flowers glowed softly. Peaceful. Temporary. You were incredible, Nia said. I was terrified. Courage is not the absence of fear, she replied gently. It is standing anyway. He looked at her. Do you ever regret choosing me? Never. She took his hands. The galaxy may test us again. It will, he said. And we will adapt. He smiled. That's kind of our thing. She leaned against him. For now, the stars were calm. But somewhere beyond map space, a species that believed in perfect order was recalculating. Because one human had refused gravity. And that single unpredictable moment had changed cosmic balance. Months later, reports spread across the Dominion. The unknown species had approached another system. This time, Dominion fleets arrived early. With human advisors embedded. The entity appeared. Scanned. Paused. And withdrew. No confrontation. No extraction attempt. Just observation. Then retreat. The galaxy whispered. The unstoppable force had hesitated. Because of humans. Because of choice. Because adaptability cannot be stolen. It must be lived. Back on Ardent 7, Jax received an official Dominion commendation. He read it twice. Then looked at Nia. Does this mean I get better food? No, she said warmly. But you get a bigger office. He sighed. I'll take it. She slipped her hand into his. The frontier stretched endlessly before them. New challenges. New threats. New unknowns. But this time, the galaxy knew something it hadn't known before. Humans were not the strongest. Not the oldest. Not the most advanced. But when pressure increased, they stood. When fear whispered, they chose. And when the universe tried to pin them down, they adapted. Side by side. Together. Unknown to them, Queen Solara had watched everything. Through diplomatic surveillance. She saw the sabotage. She saw the Helion plot. But most importantly, she saw the human. Not fleeing. Not panicking. Standing beside her daughter when fear was justified. Days later, a summons arrived. Return to the Dominion. Jax felt fear again. What if we failed? He asked quietly. Nia smiled. Then we failed together. The throne room felt different this time. Less hostile. More curious. Queen Solara regarded them silently. You were sent to test whether your bond weakens the Dominion, she said. She paused. Instead, you prevented political manipulation, exposed sabotage, and saved a frontier station. Her eyes turned to Jax. You are afraid. Yes, Jax answered honestly. The court murmured. But I stay anyway, he continued. Every time. I choose her. Nia stepped forward. And I choose him. Long silence. Then, Queen Solara stood. Exile is ended. Gasps echoed. You will serve as permanent joint envoys of the Dominion and humanity. Your partnership has proven stronger than protocol. Jax blinked. Permanent. Nia squeezed his hand. Permanent.